Hello and welcome to an actor-centric episode today here at Movies You Missed podcast. I'm Vee.
John here.
And oftentimes we do a theme, usually around a genre or some small detail about a movie, but usually we go with themes here for our episodes. But this week, and like some other weeks, we've done a Jim Carrey episode before, I believe.
Yeah.
And a couple other ones.
And last week was Josh Brolin, for crying out loud.
Well, that was an accident.
Yeah. Totally unplanned.
So sometimes we do this, and I like it because the genres that we pick are usually completely different, and that gives us a nice little shake-up for our episode, just like this week.
Oh, big time. Yeah, this is going to be a curveball for a lot of people, I think.
I think so, too, and I don't know about you, but I'm not a fan of this actor. I'm not a fan of him as a human either, but you picked your movie first on the schedule, and so I needed to pair with it, and I decided to just go with it, and that's not the movie, though. And so this week, I think is going to...
I was going to say, that's not the movie, by the way. We've already done an Adam Sandler movie in the last few weeks. We're waiting to hold off on that one.
So I do think this is going to be full of interesting conversations between the two of us about his performances, about the movies in general. I don't know. I'm excited to see what unfolds here.
I am very excited. The movie I picked is a movie that I will never forget and have been a fan of since it came out. It turned me on to this actor. Do you want to tell everybody who we're talking about?
Sure.
I think we might have mentioned it last week, but why don't we fill everybody else in?
Yes, we are doing two totally different movies with Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah, there it is. Okay. Ashton Kutcher was not somebody that I ever enjoyed watching.
Same.
Now, granted, when Punk'd was on MTV, very entertaining.
Nope.
Very good stuff. Did you really? Okay. See, I thought it was a good show. Now, I never saw every episode, but everybody remembers the Justin Timberlake episode and the Pink episode. Certain episodes were very good. Very, very entertaining.
Some of them were really fun.
And this movie...
The problem with Punk'd, just a sidebar a second, the problem with Punk'd and any sort of prank is that when it starts to get into villainous, when it starts to get into just mean... I'm immediately turned off. And so some of the episodes were really funny because they're lighthearted. It's not a big deal. You're just pretending that their car got impounded and they're super rich. Who cares? And things like that, right?
Right. Yeah.
But other times when you punk someone or when they punked someone on the show, it was just cruel. It was really messed up stuff.
There were times that was very mean.
Yeah,
it was really fucked up.
I'm just not into that at all. And people who think that's funny, that's one of the reasons why I always thought he was just a frat boy douche.
Well, hey, interesting you say that because there is a moment where he is a frat boy douche in my pick this week. But yeah, I will say that my pick this week turned me on to him. And then I saw another movie with him and I was like, yeah, nope, That was the moment that I liked him and I don't really like him anymore. Unlike Robert Pattinson with The Lighthouse, completely turned me on to him. I will watch anything he's in because he elevates his performance in every movie, whereas Ashton Kutcher, I feel like he was the early Ryan Reynolds. Yeah. And Ryan Reynolds and him they battle out for like, okay, who is it going to be good or is it just going to be this guy again? And he tried doing some dramatic stuff, very little, granted, my pick, and then the Steve Jobs movie, which was an atrocious movie. So was the Danny Boyle movie with Michael Fassbender. I did not like either of them, but yeah, well, we'll get more into it.
No,
because,
I mean, this is what we're here for.
Two completely different genres of this actor today. And
wait, I'm
really curious to see what you think.
Dude, Where's My Car?
Oh, well, okay, yes. Now, that's a completely different ballgame of movie. That goes back into the stoner comedy realm of like How High and Grandma's Boy and Half Baked and stuff like that. Like, how can you not like a stoner comedy, especially if you're somebody like me that is a massive stoner? Even my wife is a Dude, Where's My Car fan, oddly enough.
Shocking.
But when it comes to like that 70s show, that blew my mind.
Yeah.
But that 70s show, I will say, was actually a very entertaining show. He had some good moments, but he wasn't the sole purpose as to why I kept watching that show.
Yeah.
He was just involved in it. But
that
again, we'll
completely
segue into that.
Tarnished and ruined for me at this point, though, unfortunately. Just
yeah, well, with that 90s show, that was really not that
just
great.
with the behavior of all
and
the
that
actors.
other dude, Danny Masterson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
anyway, V, who are we? What is this podcast? Welcome back, everybody. What is this, 221?
This is episode 221. We are a little over 4 years in,
right.
Yes. And we love to discuss movies without spoiling them. And we also really enjoy sharing behind-the-scenes trivia as well as our own experience within the movie industry. And, of course, talking about new movies we've seen in theaters or on streaming since our last episode.
Oh, yeah.
And once again, you and I saw the same movie.
Yes, we did.
But you also saw another one.
I also did.
So why don't you start with that one?
Sure.
Okay.
I saw a movie. I wanted to see it in theaters, but I never did get around to it. And truthfully, I'm kind of okay with that because when it ended, I was like, okay. It's nothing that we did not know before. This movie stars Brendan Fraser, Kerry Condon, and Andrew Scott. This is a movie called Pressure, and it is about the few days leading up to the D-Day invasion.
It was briefly in theaters, and I kind of wanted to see it, but I also feel like I've seen D-Day so many times in films already. Can't you focus on another mission?
Totally, yeah, fully agree. The trailer made it out to be a far more suspenseful film than it was. It was okay. Brendan Fraser, there were moments where he actually looked like Eisenhower, which was kind of cool, but overall I was just kind of like, it's Brendan Fraser, and he didn't really do much other than shave a portion of his hair off. So there wasn't like any like method acting. He didn't change his voice in any way, shape, or form, and whenever he yells, all I can think of is scenes in The Mummy, so I was kind of taken out of it in that regard, but overall I'd give it like a C-. If you really want to check it out, go for it. I think it's streaming on Peacock right now.
Yeah, I mean, how suspenseful can you really make the weather?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad I skipped it then.
Yeah. It's.
That sounds like a C- to me.
Yes, very C-.
All right. Now getting into the movie we both watched.
Yes.
Why don't you tell our audience what you thought about it?
Okay, well, I was actually kind of hoping you would go first.
Oh, okay, I will. Okay.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah,
all right.
Drop it.
So we both saw Spider-Man Brand New Day. I was really excited for this film because I am a fan of both leads. I do like the character. I'm a fan of Marvel, as most of you know. I'm not a huge fan, but I'm a fan.
Yeah.
And so I was really looking forward to it, especially because it had a galactic opening. Jesus. Everybody once saw this movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was really excited to finally get it back into theaters after 3 weeks. I think the part of this movie that I'm most excited for is that I didn't get sick watching it. I didn't have any symptoms whatsoever. And so
I thought, honestly, you might. There are moments of pure frenetic action that's kind of like, whoa, okay.
And a lot of spinning around and camera work and things like that. And this actually means that I can go and watch The Odyssey in IMAX. So I'm really stoked for that part of it. Yes. Anyway, getting back to the movie itself. Love Tom Holland, love Zendaya. And it was good. It was fine.
It was fine.
It didn't really pull at my heartstrings, or there was about an hour or so into the movie, and it hit me that I don't really care yet.
I totally, fully agree. I watched No Way Home just the other day before seeing this one to get a refresher. That's a pretty cool fucking movie.
Oh, that's a great film. Yeah,
that one is so cool how they utilize Willem Dafoe and...
Hey, spoilers.
Doubt that that's even a spoiler now. But and Alfred Molina and even Jamie Foxx and a couple other people in No Way Home, really, really cool. And this one, like, I completely agree. I'm sitting there and granted, I don't really get super worked up or emotionally involved in any Marvel movie. Not to say that I'm some robot. I definitely cry. Our audience knows that I'm a crier.
Yes.
But it was just kind of like, I think the problem, and it's similar to so many other things, is like, we know how it's gonna end. It's like, we know, like, come on, like, how can they make this any different than any other, like, because it's Marvel and it's Tom Holland and it's Zendaya. John Bernthal was great. Literally for like majority of the time he's on screen, I'm like, why the fuck is he even in this movie? And then I'm like, oh yeah, he's the Punisher.
Yeah.
Okay, but why? Like, I don't even remember
the thing, is that
the moments that they were talking about where Spider-Man saved his life.
Island? Yeah.
When did that happen? Like, where did that happen?
And you make a good point, and that's exactly my point as well, is that I didn't care that the Punisher was in this movie.
Didn't care, no.
I did like one of the other cameos a lot. Loved her in this movie so much. I was so happy to see her.
Yes, that was a pleasant surprise, even though I did not like the movie that she was in.
And as far as movies since Endgame, I would say it's definitely better than most of them. I did like the Marvels much more than this one, but Eternals sucked. Awesome. Thor Love and Thunder was terrible. So was Doctor Strange. Well, we just didn't like it. The Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
Captain America Brave New World, I put it on my should miss list last year. So
oh, that's right.
As far as phase whatever we're at with Marvel since Endgame, this is certainly one of the better movies. but I just didn't care enough to get emotionally invested. I love the main characters, but there's agency that was really established that I'm like, you needed more time or reference for me to give a single shit about this entity.
Totally.
And so the second half of the movie, I understood where it was going, but I'm like, this isn't a payoff because I didn't care enough.
Yeah, when it ended, I will say I was absolutely entertained. I went and saw it with Amy's sister's boyfriend David, and he and I talked about, I had to ask him some questions at the end. I'm like, okay, so this happens because of the whole thing Strange does with that spell, right? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. And like that was pretty cool. But then it just
well, and that whole organization I didn't care about. You know who I loved in this movie was the cop. She was my favorite character in the whole movie.
Oh, see, I didn't like her very much.
Oh, I thought she was so cool. She was like such a mom to him. She was trying so hard to protect him. I loved it.
I don't know. Maybe it comes from my dislike of the show The Bear and most of the characters on that show. But
I was wondering where I recognized her
and I was
from.
like, oh, cool. She's from The Bear. That's cool. Then good for her. Yeah, again, I would give it like a solid C. I wouldn't go C-. I wouldn't go C+. It's a solid C. I don't think though I would ever watch this one again.
Yeah,
if I watched any of the other ones, it would definitely be No Way Home.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, me either. I would give it probably a C+, just because it wasn't bad, and it's like I said, it's certainly better than most everything since Endgame. Of course, I loved Deadpool and Wolverine. That was great. And I did like Thunderbolts, even though you hated it.
I hated it.
Those are other movies that have since come out. But yeah, I don't think I'll ever watch it again either. There are other Tom Holland and Zendaya movies that I will absolutely put on well before this one.
Sure.
I'm sure including The Odyssey once we talk about it next week. So yeah, if you want to keep up with Marvel, if you want to bring your kids, or if you like comic book movies, or if you like action movies, it's solid, especially right now. We're in a little bit of a low spot. It's The Odyssey and Spider-Man, and that's about it that's out right now.
Right now, yeah.
So if you want to go to the movies, it's certainly not a giant waste of your time. I don't think it's even a waste of your time, right?
No, it's certainly worth seeing. It's definitely a theatrical, popcorn, fun time.
The stunts were really cool. The choreography was awesome. The ninja gang was my favorite fight of the whole movie, too.
Yeah, that was cool.
There's some fun action scenes and really great fighting scenes, and Tom Holland did a great job, as he always does.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I just walked out and shrugged.
It was kind of like, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we agree.
We agree indeed.
It's always nice.
Yeah.
So now that we've talked about the new movies we've seen over the last week, we get to dive into this Ashton Kutcher episode. And I'm so glad that you're going first so we can end on a high note, because your movie is so dark.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Yeah, it is. All right, here we go. You ready?
Uh-huh.
I'm ready. I got my comp books. I'm about to open up to a page when I was like 9 years old and see what I can change in my life at this point at 40 years old. Here we go.
So I actually use comp books for our podcast, though. You know I do. I mean, you're looking at it.
Oh, well, you better be careful when you go back and read your notes then.
Apparently.
Because all of these episodes could change over the course of history.
I'd like
because
to change
this movie that I picked... You know what's funny? When I listen to some of mine, I'm like, God damn, I fucking said that? That's what I went with? That's what made it on the air? Son of a bitch. Thanks, V, for embarrassing me even more.
Hey, man, it's coming out of your mouth.
Of our podcast, V. It is, but you can censor me, even though I say, don't censor me on this podcast. We are here for no censorship, although we believe in it to an extent.
I keep trying to get you to swear less, and it's not working.
Fuck that. No, that's never happening. You know that.
I keep trying.
Especially when we first started this podcast and you actually had the title for swearing.
I did. Then, I told you it was because I was nervous.
Your mom told you that? Yeah. Yes.
No, it's my sweet
usually
niece.
Not so fucking nervous. But anyway, moving on. 2004 was when this movie came out with Ashton Kutcher, Amy Smart, Eric Stoltz. Eric Stoltz. Yeah, exactly. A lot of child actors that maybe you would recognize, especially Cameron Bright. He showed up a lot in the early days of the 2000s. He was also in an earlier pick of mine that actually scared the hell out of you, V, Running Scared with Paul Walker.
Oh, yeah, he was in that. No, he was a really good child actor. Yeah.
Yeah, he really was. He was great. This film that I chose this week is written and directed by two different guys, Eric Bress and Jay Mackie Gruber. This film is titled The Butterfly Effect. Now, if you've ever read the sci-fi novel by Ray Bradbury, A Sound of Thunder, you understand the whole butterfly effect theme. The butterfly effect goes back to the fact that if a butterfly flaps its wings in, say, New Zealand, a tsunami could hit in Los Angeles, California. And that is the whole thing about the butterfly effect, is that the butterfly wings can really change the course of history if that were really a thing. I don't know if it necessarily is, but ever since I've seen this movie and read that story, because I am a big Ray Bradbury fan, it really gets you thinking.
Well, it's basically saying that your smallest action can have profound effects.
Yeah. Thank you for the Webster's Dictionary terminology.
Hey, man, I'm just trying to distill it down for you.
So this movie, The Butterfly Effect, centers on Evan. We learn very early on that he certainly has a troubled childhood. His father is in a mental institution. He's got some friends that he hangs out with, and one of them being a little bit of a problematic child, played by Jesse James, also another character actor from As Good as It Gets and Pearl Harbor. I don't know if anybody recognizes him by name, but Cameron Bright is who we see the most of in this movie, and Cameron Bright is playing Tommy at the age of 7. And we also have a young girl playing Kaylee at the age of 7 up until their early teens. And they're normal teenagers and kids growing up. They get into trouble. They try and hide the trouble that they get into. And as we are progressing with this story with Evan and his friends, there are moments early on in his life where he will black out and come back from these blackouts. Now, he's not getting drunk or anything, but something's going on in his mind where he is blacking out certain events in his life when he was younger that he just can't remember, but everybody else around him clearly remembers, especially when they get to be on the very traumatic side.
Yeah.
His friend Lenny, also involved in all of this, is one of those, I don't want to say the fat friend, but he's definitely the friend that gets picked on the most by everybody. Not so much Evan, but Tommy more so than anybody. Lenny is the friend that Evan tries to make feel included in the events that are happening throughout their childhood. I've been there, not as the one that's being included, but I've definitely had friends throughout elementary school and junior high that I've always wanted them to feel included, so that they don't necessarily feel like they're being left out. Unfortunately, some things go down early on in their life with Evan and Kaylee and Tommy and Lenny. Evan ultimately blacks out, but Lenny remembers, and Lenny kind of has a little bit of a mental breakdown early on in their childhood. Now, we also learn that, like I mentioned earlier, Evan's father is in a mental institution, and his mother tells him that he had some weird situation where he felt like he could change things, but everybody kind of thought he was crazy, so they institutionalized him. And at one point, his mother takes him to visit his father. And during this moment where Evan goes to visit his father in this institution, Evan blacks out but wakes up to his father ultimately trying to kill him and saying, "It has to end with me, it has to end with me." Pretty fucking freaky shit. I'll never forget seeing this movie in the theaters and being like, whoa, what the hell is going on? So after that moment, we reconvene with all of these kids again. They're in their early teens. They're hanging out in Kaylee and Tommy's basement, which I actually did not mention. Kaylee and Tommy are brother and sister, and Evan is friends with these two along with Lenny. And they're hanging out in the basement, and they decide that they're going to go cause a little bit of mischief. Unfortunately, this ends up bringing on one of the most traumatic events of their young lives, and things change to the point where Evan's mom says that we are moving out of this town. I'm getting you away from these people. It's time to start a new life. So Evan and his mom book it. They bounce out of town. We revisit Evan now. He is in his early 20s. He is in college. He is a psychology major, and things seem to be going very well with him. He's got a... typical for a movie, but I feel like most people like Evan might just kind of have this serendipity doodah with them. Now, I never did have a dormitory life, but I knew people that did, and they always had that really weird alternate roommate. He has a roommate named Thumper, who is played by Ethan Suplee, who is a goth, who's got this really crazy goth girlfriend. And Evan is very excited because this is now coming upon 7 years of him having no blackouts. And Thumper knows about this whole thing, so they decide to go out and celebrate. They're out playing pool, they're having a good time. Evan brings a young girl home, and they're about to get down to the nitty-gritty like you do in college. So this young lady ends up pulling out a bunch of comic books from under his bed, and she's like, "Oh, what do you got here?" He goes, "Oh, those are my journals. Let's leave those alone." And she goes, "Well, what do you mean? So many guys usually have porn under their bed, and I'm really curious what your comic books are about. Can you read me something from one of your journals?" Evan wants to get laid, so he pulls out one of his books. He reads into this page, As he's reading it, he's starting to get this memory of what this page is reminiscing on, and he is brought back immediately to the moment that went down in his earlier teens as to what's going on here. So at one point, he comes back to it, and then he ends up kind of figuring out, like, holy shit, what the hell just happened? He goes home, he finds more comic books, he starts reading some of these pages, and ultimately comes to the realization that as he's reading these old comic books of his, he is able to switch events throughout his early teens, early childhood, and change the lives of not just himself, but everybody else around him. And things sometimes might work out, and sometimes things will be backwards, and sometimes things will be really fucked. And that is essentially what we are treated to for the remainder of this movie, is watching Evan try to figure out a way to not only change his life, but ultimately change Kaylee's life, because Kaylee's life and Tommy's life were brought up in a very abusive household, and he wants to save Kaylee from the potentiality of this ever happening to her. And yet, just like a sound of thunder, the smallest action can cause the biggest reaction, and things, like I said, sometimes work out and sometimes do not. In my personal opinion, I think this is Ashton Kutcher's best performance that he's ever put on film. I watched it recently. It's been a very long time since I watched it, but he really got me emotionally involved. And I will never forget seeing this movie when it came out in January 2004. I was still a senior in high school. My buddies and I went opening weekend. I was sitting next to my buddy Greg, and during a specific scene, my buddy Greg turns to me and goes, "This is disturbing."
Yeah.
And everybody in the theater walked out of that movie just kind of hanging their heads a little bit low, but also being like, whoa, that is something we've never seen before. And I got to hand it to the writers and directors and Ashton and even Amy Smart. Everybody in this movie really delivers a really intense, beautiful, yet traumatic performance. Rewatching it this time really ignited my love for this movie, and I'm very curious, V, what you have to say about the butterfly effect, because I think this is your second time ever watching it.
Yes, it is.
Sweet. Well, let's hear it. What did you think of the butterfly effect from 2004?
So as you said, I've watched it once before in my 20s. The weird thing is it was a different movie than the one I watched this week, and I believe it's because in my 20s I watched the director's cut.
Oh, that's right. You did mention that to me, that you were, okay. The R-rated cut is better, I will say. The theatrical cut I liked a little bit better than the director's cut.
I did too. The theatrical cut at least isn't as dark, but that's not saying much.
No, it's not.
First of all, I loved seeing the New Line Cinema logo come up with its original theme song. Hadn't seen that in a while.
Oh, yeah.
I like time travel movies, so I was interested, and I was very intrigued to watch this again because I didn't really remember much from my first watch back a while ago, right around 2006, I think. So it was nice to revisit, but I forgot how dark this movie is. And by the end of it,
it's not a happy movie.
Well, here's the problem. By the end of it, my notes in my composition book were, this is torture porn. And this is my problem with the movie, is that it seems like the writers just thought of the most horrible, messed up thing you can do to children and decided to put it on screen. And because it bounces around so much, there isn't much in-depth character development or establishment. So you're just watching strangers on screen go through horrible shit. And most of the time, they're children. And I don't want to watch that.
Okay.
I don't think a lot of people do. Especially because it seems like the writers are doing it and the director's doing it just for shock value. There wasn't a whole lot of payoff in this movie. And look, I get it. If all these horrible things didn't happen when he was a kid, he wouldn't want to go back in time. Okay, that's fine. But it just kept getting worse and worse. And by the end, I was just exhausted.
Sure, yeah. It is definitely emotionally depleting.
However, I will say, when they all went to the movie theater as kids and went and watched the movie Seven and started talking, I would have beat their ass too.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. I would have just knocked the hell out of Tommy.
So that part I get. But yeah, by the end of it, I just felt gross. I felt like I shouldn't be watching something that is this exploitive. And so the rest of it and the plot and everything just fell to the wayside for me because it seemed like it was just focusing on hurting children and killing animals and all these horrible things. And I did not enjoy that at all.
Yeah.
It felt very early 2000s that, let's be so edgy and let's be angsty. And it's just... It was brutal, and so I get it. I mean, it's messed up. I like the concept. It's kind of an interesting concept. I don't think it was executed very well. I think it needed more attention to characters than plot points and action in terms of what happened to them. We don't really care about his mom. He talks about how much he loves the girl all the time, but why? There are no instances of them actually spending time together. There's no examples of either of their personalities shining through where we could see why he would fall in love with her. There's so many...
I'm going to disagree with that because when I was a kid growing up, I had a couple of girls like that I would grow up with, and as we grew up, I was like, yeah, you know what? I could totally... They were like a couple of my first... Well, not a couple of my first... You only have one first kiss, right? But as a guy growing up, I had a couple of girls around that age when I was like 12, 13 that I was definitely into because we had been spending so much time together, like playing outside in the street and like getting to know each other and like talking about movies. And I empathized more with Evan as a teenager with his like and love for Kaylee than I did when he was a child, obviously. I felt like that was very true and close to home for me, something that I can relate to.
But here's the problem. Every single scene when they're children focuses solely on the trauma that they're experiencing, not the development of them or their characters. And so you don't get to see a glimpse of them actually hanging out and spending time together. Go to the diner and split a milkshake, like whatever, right? Give us something to make us care.
Cliche.
But no, of course, I thought of the most obvious example I could think of. I'm not saying write that into a movie. But that's my point, is that there is no opportunity for us to like these characters or even care about them because we don't get to see them
I completely disagree.
We don't get to see them as who they are. All we're doing is following them along while they go through some trauma, and then it bounces forward 8 years, and then it bounces forward 5 years. I'm like, wait. You can't just show them living?
Well, but see, that's the thing, is they absolutely were showing them living. Not that. Oh, this is interesting to me because I honestly, I'm actually kind of shocked at like your breakdown of this, because as kids, what happens to you as you're growing up can define you as a person.
Of course. But the good things
what happens to them absolutely, yes. But if nothing good happens, listen, we are true crime nuts, right? Tommy would be the subject of a true crime fucking serial killer. 100%.
Of course. But we're not talking about Tommy.
Okay,
we're talking
so we
about
have that.
Kaylee and Evan, who were not.
Yeah, okay, but if we're...
Who had a loving mother who busted
Kaylee
her ass
Evan,
to keep him in that house.
Yes, Evan's mom absolutely did. She busted her ass. She wanted to have a good life for him. She moved him out of there after what happens. So there's that character arc for Evan to be taken away from that, to actually grow up to be a successful college student, to be somebody that is going to excel in psychology, whereas Kaylee was left behind in this rat hole of a town with her shitty father. That's the thing, is like I feel like the Butterfly Effect really hones in on the whole fact of like, if you get the fuck out of a shitty town, things can change for the good for you. If you don't, then you are likely to not have anything change for you, especially later on when he goes to see her at the diner that she's working at, and he's trying to get her to remember what happened to them at some point with her father's video camera, and then she's like, what the fuck, you're here to stir up my shit because you have a bad fucking memory? I feel like all of that is completely plausible. If that were ever to happen to anybody else, that is how they would react to a situation like that.
Oh yeah, that part I totally agree with. My point is that there isn't enough development of these characters and time spent with these characters outside of these super messed up traumatic scenes that it seems like the writers got into a room and like, okay, what is the absolute worst thing that can happen to a child? Let's do all of them.
No. I totally understand all of that.
I don't think there was enough
fully get where you're coming from
for this character development. I don't think there was enough time for the audience to care about these characters. And so instead of caring about what happens to them, all I'm feeling is that I'm watching torture porn.
Okay, I see. I don't know if I would use the term torture porn, but
Dude,
I understand.
What else worse could happen to these kids?
That's totally true. Yeah, no, what else could happen that would be worse than what does happen to them? But that, I think that's another thing too, is like, you know, in going back to the true crime thing, like you think of like all of these kids that grew up to like become serial killers. They hurt animals. They were abusive to their siblings because of how they watched their parents or their father or their mother abused so-and-so. Nothing good happens to these people. And that is the unfortunate reality of the world that we live in, is like what these kids go through traumatically as they're what they're witnessing. What else good could happen, especially with Lenny, when the big thing happens and
right.
Lenny all of a sudden is in a mental institution, and then later Evan shows up and all Lenny can do is recall what happened and why he snapped so much. That scene actually terrified the shit out of me in the theaters when Evan goes to visit Lenny when he's an adult and he's making models in his room, and then he like pushes him against him, like, say one peep and I'll cut your throat, motherfucker. That scared the hell out of me. And I saw this movie twice in theaters. I'll never forget taking my buddy Andrew to see it. We were at the Palmdale Mall Theater, and we went and saw it for like $3.50 in an afternoon. He like flipped out during that scene because it was so out of nowhere when Lenny pushed him up against the wall. But anyway, I just feel like, while yes, it is, okay, it's a all right. Torture porn is a good way to say it. I apologize that I completely disagree with you, because it certainly is a torturous movie to get through.
It just didn't
But the
have
other thing
enough
is there are
time to
moments
develop.
in the movie.
This could have been a good series.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. A good series. Sure.
It just, or a
I
book.
think the
You know
movie,
what? Actually, no.
I think
not
the way
series,
that it progresses.
A book would have been better. A book would have been way better, because it would have given us time.
Well, Sound of Thunder is a book, but it's a different storyline.
But it would have given us much more time to like these characters, to get invested in their lives, to get a better backstory into exactly what's going on. I mean, you say only bad things happen to them. These kids go to school. Evan clearly does well in school. He plays sports. He goes to college.
Right.
You know, he's a nice kid. And
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, we see the progression of Evan, but we don't see the progression of Tommy or Kaylee.
All of a sudden, he's in college and he's doing well. We don't.
Because he's been moved out. That's the whole fucking point. His mom moves him out at 13.
Mm-hmm.
The next scene is
him in college.
7 years later, when he's 20, he's in college. He's doing well. And he even says to Thumper, 7 years, no blackouts. There's no more fucking trauma in his life. Everything is working out for him.
All the filmmakers
That's
care
all
about
we need.
is
We don't
showing us the trauma part.
We don't need to see 7 years of good for Evan to get to the point where he's doing well in school, his professors know who he is, and all this kind of stuff, and then this girl wants to hear about his childhood from a comic book that he wrote, and that is what unlocks everything. I think it's fucking brilliant, and I understand your issue with it. I don't agree with it. I think
fine.
it is a totally perfect... Okay, perfect might be a strong word to use.
Yeah,
I think
you're getting a little aggressive.
It develops the story. No. Okay, it's not a perfect movie in any way, shape, or form. I know that much. It's still a really good movie on the what if. And I think they really sold it. And I think Ashton Kutcher sold it. And I think Amy Smart, watching her... Oh,
she's a great actress. Let's just throw that out there first.
She is.
We need to talk about that too, because I was very impressed with every iteration of Kaylee that she played. That was really good. I just wasn't given enough time to get invested in these characters, enough to get invested in the outcome of this movie, because I feel like the filmmakers were solely focused on showing us the worst shit they could think of.
I completely understand that, and I will say there are moments also with William Scott Lee, who plays Tommy as an adult.
I liked
there are
him
moments
in
with
the
him
early
that
2000s.
are amazing. Yeah, he was in October Sky. He was he was also in Pearl Harbor and Gone in 60 Seconds. Watching certain, when Evan and Kaylee are in college together and he shows up, oh man, that moment is, I'll never forget in theaters just being like, oh shit. Mm-hmm. And then later on, things are like progressing for the better because of what page Evan was able to read in the comic book, and then when he goes to jail and yada yada. So I think it's
oh god.
It's
like
I figured this would be one of those combos.
Worst thing that could possibly happen. That's speaking of stereotypes,
sure,
and cliches that could happen in prison. Okay, cool. We'll go with that. It's like, come on. But seeing Kevin...
Well, hey, come on now, Kevin Durant. Come on, come on.
I like him. It was great to see him show up.
I love that moment. Stigmata, man. Like, that whole thing was...
So my sister Shannon likes really dark, twisted movies. I would not recommend this film to her. It's just too... Just too much. Yeah, I don't find... I thought this concept was cool. It's not well executed. Not enough for me to be able to recommend this movie.
All right, that's cool. That's a tough one, because I don't know who I would recommend it to.
There you go.
It's 22 years old now, 2004.
Mm-hmm.
And I got it on DVD, the New Line Infinifilm. Remember when Infinifilm was a whole thing? I might have talked about that during our Rush Hour episode, because my Rush Hour 2 DVD is in Infinifilm. Yeah, man, when this movie ended, I was like, fuck yeah, this movie is kick-ass. But it's so fucked up. And it goes back, I think, to like Trainspotting, Requiem for a Dream, Spun. I like it because it's so fucked up. And that's why I
no comparison
crave
to
to watch and read.
There's literally no comparison. The
I'm not
characters,
saying,
the character development,
I'm not
the
saying
storyline.
that you can compare it.
Masterpiece.
I'm just saying fucked up wise, what goes on to with these people, etc. Just the shock value, quote unquote, of it is something that I like because it's not a chapter of my life that I've ever experienced, and I just feel like it's like something that it does happen. And while I consume true crime like I drink water these days, it's still like one of those things where like, damn, this shit unfortunately happens to people. Now, granted, of course, we can't go back in time and change anything, but the trauma of people's lives and the reason why people end up being who they are is because what shaped them as kids growing into their early teens and so forth. All right, I'm with you. We're both on a decent path of discussing this
I knew
movie.
it would be.
So,
no, I thought it would be a really good discussion this week.
Good. Yeah. I think you said before the theatrical cut is a far better wrap-up than the director's cut. The director's cut, I will never forget watching the first time and being like, oh my God. Like, that is one of those director's cut endings where you're just like, okay, theatrical is all I ever want to watch from here on out if ever I watch this movie again.
The thing is that the director's cut doesn't actually solve the problem. No. Think about their dad. The director's cut does not solve that issue.
Kaylee and Tommy's dad? Yeah, sure.
It doesn't at all.
No, that's true. Nope. Totally true. Totally true.
It's just as dark as you could possibly think, not actually solving this problem.
I know, yeah. I remember years ago when I watched the director's cut with a buddy of mine, and he looked at me and goes, oh, whoa, dude. I'm like, yeah. This is the first time I've watched the director's cut, and I got to be honest, the theatrical cut's a lot better. So we went back, and I played him the final 5 minutes of the theatrical cut. He goes, yeah, that's better. I'm like, yeah, it's much better.
It's much better.
Because like you said, he said almost the same thing verbatim. He was like, how does he fix anything if that's how it ends this way? I'm like, yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, and you know, we've always said this before. Even with Tropic Thunder, the director's cut is just not as good as the theatrical cut. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of director's cuts that are not as good. However, Close Encounters of the Third Kind and several other movies that we've talked director's cut status are definitely better. Mm-hmm. But cool. All right. Well, let's move on to some BTS of this movie. I don't have a whole lot, which is unfortunate. This one was actually kind of surprising to me because I remember when I first saw this movie and when he does go to jail and the guy first like grabs him, that was a real prisoner. They shot in a real-life prison with real prisoners for the sequences in prison. Now, granted, of course, Kevin Durant was not in prison. He was an actor hired for the movie, and Kevin Durant was great in the, 3.5 minutes of screen time that he has in this movie because it's Kevin Durant. He's always awesome, except for A Clown in a Cornfield, which was a complete piece of shit.
Yeah.
There's a moment early on in the movie where Evan, when he's a teenager, is being hypnotized by his psychologist, and the lights end up flickering, and apparently that just happened during a Grip and Electric setup. There was a shortage, and the lights just started flickering, and directors were like, fuck yeah, that actually works out very well, so let's just leave it in the movie, and cool. That worked out great. Ashton Kutcher did a lot of psychology research and mental disorder and chaos theory research to prepare for this role, which is pretty cool. Not that it's really going to do a whole lot of anything, I don't know, if I were him, I would have done the same thing, just because I would be curious as to what the whole chaos theory aspect has to do with this movie. And like you said, torture porn, it's definitely a chaotic movie. There are moments when he's reading his comic books, and it's just kind of like, man. And I liked the moments where he ends up, there's the moment where he goes back to when he finds Tommy in the junkyard, and he, wakes up as a kid, and he goes, yeah, you fucking animals, and it's, right after he is being attacked in the prison. I liked that whole, blend in with,
I did too.
him as an adult going back to being a kid.
That was I did
sweet.
like that there was a bleed over. That's really cool. But again, you have to remember that Ashton Kutcher tries to, he's not a good actor. We both agree that. So that's good that we're at least on the same page with that part.
Okay, now you haven't said anything yet. What did you think of his performance in this movie though? Granted,
it was
you think it's a torture porn movie and nothing.
The performance that was expected for a dark, angsty movie from 2004, and I think anybody could have filled the role.
All right. I will totally piggyback on the fact that I think anybody could have filled that role, but I think he did a pretty damn good job with it.
I think it's really easy to do a performance that lacks any subtlety, and this role was full of that. There was no subtlety in this role at all. So you and I could have done it because, don't get me wrong, you and I would be terrible actors. I'm kidding.
Whoa. I would be so good. No, who the hell knows? I would likely be terrible as all hell.
So I've been an extra on movies and have had lines on movies. You've been on set sometimes when that's happened, and I was terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, you weren't that great.
No, I've
would
stuck
you
to
like
nonverbal
a glass
stunt work.
of tequila?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, God, were you there that one time where I was a cop at that night shoot when the detective walks up to me and asks if they found a dead body? And I answered him before he asked the question because I was so nervous.
I think that was the last movie. That was the movie in Malibu that we did.
God, that was terrible. Anyway, that's why I never went into acting.
Yeah.
I knew I'd be bad. Or I guess I should have just practiced
I had
more,
one line on a Lifetime movie, and oh my gosh, it was with Ashley Scott, and I love Ashley Scott. I loved the fact that I got to work with her. And we'll talk about her more when we do. Yeah. Talk about her more when we do Strange Wilderness in the future. But yeah, one of the cops comes up. I have to like call him over, and it's it's so bad. And so many, I remember being like on Facebook, like, I'm in a movie. I was the second AD, and they put me in a suit, and I have one line and call a detective over. And I watched the scene like 4 times, and just my delivery, I'm like, oh my God.
No, granted.
Fuck this. Why did they put it in?
Neither of us had ever tried to be actors, had ever gone to any school or classes about acting. That's like, let's be honest, like, we never had any aspirations. We never wanted to be actors anyway. So it's okay that we're terrible.
No.
That being said,
it's totally fine. Totally
that
fine.
being said, I don't think Ashton is a great actor. I don't think that it took a lot to...
I thought he was good. I liked him in this movie.
Well, and I always have to remember that he's such a dweeb about acting. Remember how he tried to go method and be Steve Jobs before the movie, became a fruitarian and had to go to the hospital?
Horrible. Yeah.
Well, and then he and Mila wrote a letter supporting Danny Masterson or whatever the hell his name is. I don't care.
Yeah.
And that came out within the last couple of years, and that really sealed the deal for me. And so not only is he a bad actor, but he's a shitty person.
I know. It was really sad that Mila Kunis did that, and it's kind of interesting how we literally have not heard from either of them in the last like almost decade now.
No, it's only been a couple of years.
Well, actually, no. He was on a Substance show on FX that Ryan Murphy did.
Oh, yeah,
I don't even remember what it was called,
terrible.
but I was like, yeah, I'm not going to watch that.
No.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch that.
Me either.
But Mila Kunis, I think the last time we talked about her was Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
She was more disappointing for me because I liked her more. Yeah.
Yeah. And she was great in that 70s show, even though she lied about her age.
Well, and you loved her in Black Swan.
Yo, yeah. Yeah, that's coming up in the future. Yeah. I'm curious about what you think of that one. Anyway, there were 4 other actors that were in consideration for this movie. I think I see one of them out of the 4 doing it.
Let's do it. Yeah.
V, do you have any guesses as to who might have been in consideration for the role of Evan?
Jake Gyllenhaal?
Nope. One of them was kind of a Jake Gyllenhaal-esque type of an actor.
Oh, you know who could have been really good? Josh Hartnett.
He was one of them.
Is he the one you think could have actually
I think
worked?
Hartnett could have brought it home big time for this one.
Crushed that role.
Yeah, Josh Hartnett would have kicked ass. The other one... I don't think so. He was way too much of a comedic actor at the time. Sean William Scott, Stifler from American Pie. There's no way I could have ever seen that happening. Yeah. And the other one was in Dawson's Creek. I don't want to wait. Joshua Jackson.
Yeah, I could see that, but he's not a great actor either. At least he wasn't as a kid.
Really
Let's put it that way. He wasn't as a kid.
Yeah. There was another actress that was offered the role of Kaylee as an adult in college. She is currently on a series on Paramount Plus right now with Billy Bob Thornton. She was in the early Final Destination movies, and she is looking magnifique these days. She always was. I've always thought she was attractive. Ali Larder.
I love her. I've always loved her. Man, she would have been good. She was in something else in the early 2000s that we like. I forget. But yeah, she's great. She would have been good, but
Final Destination 2?
No, it was something else. But
well, Jane Silent Bob Strike Back.
Oh God, she's so gorgeous in that movie. But no, the movie I'm thinking of is Varsity Blues. Speaking of Dawson's Creek.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. I haven't seen that movie in years.
God. That movie's so bad. But yeah.
Varsity Blues is certainly not a favorite of mine.
No, it's not a good movie. Very 2000s, by the way. But Amy Smart did a great job. I think she's the best part of this whole movie. Yeah,
she was really good, especially when things get even darker. She really sold it very well.
Again, like, why? This movie's just awful in terms of what it shows you.
Yeah. I had the pleasure of meeting Amy Smart and Rumor Willis at a winery in Los Olivos, California, about maybe 9 years ago. I was actually there with Amy and my parents. We were doing a wine tasting tour. And walked both of them, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's Amy Smart." She was very sweet. I mean, I didn't get a picture with her or anything, but I was like, "Hi, Amy, I'm a big fan. I really like your work." Now, last piece of trivia I have before going into the budget was Evan's diaries have the same layout as John Doe in Seven.
I mean, in that they're the black and white composition books, and he writes in them.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, there's really not a whole lot of big wow brouhaha there.
Well, just because they're so common, like I said, I buy them for our podcast, but I try to get different colors every time.
I have, every time I touch a comic book, I'm just kind of like, ooh, butterfly effect. Because I have a bunch too for the podcast and for other things. I have a lot of, I have several journals. Now, this movie, like I mentioned, came out January 23rd of 2004. I was still a senior in high school, coming up on my graduating year. V, what do you think the budget of this movie was? 2004, Ashton Kutcher, Amy Smart, nobody else. No big names. Eric Stoltz, maybe he got like $500,000.
I liked him better in Anaconda.
Yeah.
$22 million.
No, you were off by $11 million. It was a $13 million budget.
Oh, wow, it was really low. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Domestic box office, $57.9 million.
Nice.
And worldwide box office gross, V, what do you think?
$68 million.
That is a really good guess. You're off by a lot. It was $96.8 million.
That's great.
Yeah, it did very, very well. I remember the theater being packed when my buddies and I all went and saw it, and I was happy about that. I'm glad that it did so good. But that is the butterfly effect, and yeah. So if anybody cares to check it out, it is. I watched my DVD copy. I think you can stream it or rent it on Amazon Prime and Apple for $3.99. I don't know, V, how you watched it. I think you might have downloaded it. Mm-hmm. And V, we haven't done this in a very long time. What do you think the highest grossing domestic box office film of 2004 was?
Okay, so 2004 was after Harry Potter, but before Marvel? Give me a hint.
It's a sequel.
It's after The Lord of the Rings. Oh, wait, it's a sequel, like direct sequel?
Direct sequel.
Is it Shrek 2?
Yep, it was. It was Shrek 2.
There we go.
Highest grossing film of 2004 domestic box office. Number 2 was Spider-Man 2. Number 3 was The Passion of the Christ. Number 4, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Oh, they
Number
still
5,
were making Harry Potter movies.
Incredibles.
Damn. I always think Harry Potter movies were earlier.
Harry Potter went to like 2008, I think.
Yeah, you're
2008
right.
or 2009.
Right. Yeah.
The 5th highest grossing film, The Incredibles. 6th highest grossing film, a previous pick of yours, The Day After Tomorrow. Number 7, Bourne Supremacy. Number 8, Shark Tale. No idea how that movie made any fucking money. Number 9, The Polar Express. And number 10, one of Nicolas Cage's greatest movies, starring Justin Bartha and Diane Kruger and Jon Voight, National Treasure. So that is the year 2004.
I love that movie. I'm so unapologetic about it.
Oh, National Treasure
I love treasure hunting
absolutely
movies.
Fantastic. Yeah, the second one was so terrible, but the first one is excellent. But V, I think it is now time to jump into your pick a few years after mine, starring the same actor. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, to give everyone, including myself, a breath of fresh air, let's get into some comedies. This is a rom-com. This stars an actress who I love, which is why I like this movie as much as I do. Not necessarily because of him, but because I love Cameron Diaz.
Who doesn't?
And we've talked about Cameron Diaz a couple times on this podcast because I love her in Night and Day with Tom Cruise.
Oh, yeah.
You had me rewatch Vanilla Sky, which is a great movie.
Yeah. I actually just added Open Your Eyes, the original, to my to-watch list. It's on a streamer right now with Penelope Cruz.
I haven't watched that one, so really good. And she's also in The Holiday, and your very first pick of this podcast ever, A Life Less Ordinary.
Hell yeah.
She stars as Joy in this movie, and Ashton Kutcher stars as Evan. We're introduced to both of them as they're going through some pretty big transitions in their lives because Cameron Diaz's fiance, Jason Sudeikis, who you hate, but given his character arc in the movie, I figured you'd enjoy him being in it.
Yeah, I still wasn't happy to see him show up.
You didn't even like the end credits scene?
Not particularly.
Okay, anyway, she is engaged to Jason Sudeikis and is planning a big surprise party for him. It's very clear that she tries very hard in this relationship. She brings him home and opens the door, and he's like, hey, you know what? We got to talk. And then he proceeds to have a very personal breakup with her. And he walks in the house, turns on the lights, and everybody stands up and goes, surprise. And this is, once again, a lesson in surprise parties and movies. Don't ever do it. We've talked about that a bunch of times.
Exactly.
So Joy is now super bummed out and meeting up with her friend Lake Bell at a bar. And at the same time, this is all happening, Ashton Kutcher, playing Jack, works for his father, who runs a very successful cabinet maker business. Unfortunately, he is completely unmotivated and directionless in his life. Everything he does, he quits. Every project he starts, he never finishes. And his dad, played by Treat Williams, who, by the way, he's a terrible actor. He's in only B movies, but he is in great cult classic B movies. He's in Deep Rising with Famke Janssen, which is an awesome creature feature.
Yeah.
I love it so much. And then he's also in one of the early comic book movies, The Phantom, with Billy Zane.
Oh, cool. I still have never seen The Phantom.
We would watch it on a Saturday afternoon, not on this podcast. Let's put it that way.
Perfect. Works for me.
Treat Williams is talking to Jack, his son, and saying, look, man, you're fired. You're like a son to me, but I got to fire you. And Jack goes, Dad, I am your son. But it doesn't matter. Jack is completely just a loaf, and so he needs to really get his life together, and his dad is hoping that this is the kick in the pants that he's going to need in order to do so. And now Jack and his best friend, played by Rob Corddry, who's great, also go to a bar. Different bars, but they're in New York, and so now we have these two groups of people, and we're cutting between the two, and they're saying, man, you know what you need to do when your life is down, when you need to just forget everything? You go to Vegas. And so everybody goes to Vegas. But unfortunately, the computers are down at the hotel, and so they accidentally get double booked, and they all end up in the same room. It's a very hilarious scene, and there's a lot of physical humor in this movie. It's one of the reasons why I love it so much. So once this mix-up is kind of sorted out, all four of them, both pairs, go downstairs, go to the lobby, and say, hey, you've got to make this right. They get upgraded, they get a bunch of passes to different clubs and restaurants, and so now they're actually kind of hanging out, even though they're trying to one-up each other. They're not really liking each other at all, and that's okay, but you introduce a whole bunch of alcohol into a situation, and usually things go better, and that's what happens. Everybody gets drunk.
Yeah.
Joy wakes up the next morning.
We all know alcohol makes everything better.
Yeah, just kidding. In the movies it does. And Joy wakes up the next morning completely hungover, but she also has a ring on her finger. Turns out Jack and Joy accidentally got married last night when they were super wasted.
Whoops.
And this happens, especially in Vegas, and usually it would just mean an annulment for both parties. But while Jack and Joy are arguing about it on the casino floor and saying, no, I'm breaking up with you. I would never want to be married to you. You're the worst. Well, one thing leads to another, and Joy throws a quarter at him, and he puts it into a slot and wins a major jackpot.
Yeah, he does.
He wins $3 million, and he's saying, hey, I pulled the lever. This is my money. And she goes, what's yours is mine, baby. We're married.
Remember? I love that.
Yeah. So they all go back to New York and get in front of a judge, played by Dennis Miller.
Yes.
And one of my favorite lines of this movie, especially because this is 2008, I thought this was such a great line to put in a movie back then. Dennis Miller, playing the judge, is looking over their case. They got drunk, they got married, now they want an annulment, and they're fighting over money. And obviously they don't know each other, they're not in love. And he says, gay people aren't destroying the sanctity of marriage. You are. And I love that so much. Because so many straight people get into stupid marriages, or ones that they get into when they're totally drunk and in Vegas. Yeah, and especially in 2008, I just thought that was such
How many times has that happened to you, V?
Thankfully, 0. What about you?
0 as well, yes. And the amount of times I've been to Vegas and don't remember a lot.
I was going to say, that I'm
very grateful. That I know of. No, but here, listen, this is the thing. Well, we can talk about this later, but real quick, I used to carry around one of those flip cameras in Vegas whenever I would go, and you better believe that it was recording almost the entire time. So
Smart.
I would watch everything when I would get home and be like, okay, cool, I didn't do anything too stupid. Like marry somebody on the strip.
Exactly. And so now this judge has sentenced them to 6 months of marriage. He assigns them a marriage counselor played by Queen Latifah. So watching her in this right afterwards, I went and watched the rom-com Just Right with her in it because I love that movie. It'll probably be on the list at some point too. And now we have 6 months of both of them trying to get through this marriage while making the other one so miserable that they tap out. So to give you an example, Joy has lost her apartment because it was her fiance's place, so she has to move in with Jack, who's a bachelor, who's a man-child. So let me give you an example of what she has to deal with.
I ran the New York City Marathon, okay? I can do this. I can totally do this. Oh my God. I can't do this.
Don't throw any of the hair away, okay? Saving it up to make you something special, like a hat or a sweater. Still haven't decided yet.
Do you train monkeys in here? Seriously, it's one thing if you like a guy, you put up with disgusting stuff like this, but you, I don't care for, so clean it up.
I'm not here under court order, so I'm gonna take off. Bye.
$1.5 million. Here, these are antibacterial. Get to work.
Both of them are doing their absolute worst to make the other one as miserable as possible. I think the middle of this movie is absolutely hilarious. And it stays funny through just about the rest of the movie, which is great. And the things they come up with are just funny, not cruel, which is why I like it, since we just talked about that, actually. And some of the things are actually really creative, like when he takes the bathroom door off its hinges. I thought that was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And so for the rest of the movie, both of them are trying to get through this, what is basically a sham of a marriage, trying to hold on to that, keeping their eyes on the prize of that $3 million jackpot. And really just trying to navigate not only each other, but also the changes in their lives that are happening. And I really like this movie because not only is it really funny, but I do think there is a lot of heart to it. And there are so many different people who you recognize who will pop up, including Zach Galifianakis.
Yes.
Which him as their friend, he goes, I just have to play this audio clip too because it's so funny.
Which one of these ugly losers is ruining your life?
That one. The pink parade over there.
That's your wife? Oh my God, she is so effing hot. What is wrong with you?
Pick a team. Pick a team. Pick a team right now. Pick a team.
Come on. So I've really enjoyed this movie ever since it came out. I did watch it in theaters back in the day, and it's just a fun rom-com. I don't think of it very often, but if you're looking for something underrated in that genre, I think it's really fun to put on, and I hope you enjoyed it, John, and I hope it was a nice, well, you probably watched it first. I hope it was a nice little palate cleanser for your movie this week, but tell me about what you thought of it. You've seen it before or no?
I had seen it before,
Okay.
yeah. This was the second time that I watched it, and I actually did watch it first before I watched my pick, and it certainly had me laughing a lot. It was $4.99 to own on Apple, so I just ended up buying it. I remember watching it the first time, I want to say within the last 10 years, and I really thought it was hysterical. It made me laugh all the way through.
Awesome.
And this time, pretty much the same. It's definitely a very entertaining movie. Thankfully, as we have just come to realize, that none of this has ever really necessarily happened to me in Vegas or you. None of my friends either. I did my bachelor party in Vegas. Amy did her bachelorette party in Vegas. I still came home and I married Amy. I didn't marry anybody else during my bachelor party.
Like
in The Hangover when Stu ends up ends up marrying Heather Graham.
Oh, that was awesome.
It was great. I loved the whole back and forth. I loved the scene where she tries to hire, bring in a lot of her hot friends to hang out at the house.
Oh God,
and then
that party scene is amazing.
Tries to counteract that. Yeah, the party scene's great. Rob Corddry is always very entertaining. I got to meet him a couple of times when he was shooting a show called The Unicorn on the Paramount lot. Their stage was right across from mine when I was on NCIS Los Angeles, so that was really cool to get to talk to him because he's a Hot Tub Time Machine, of course, like one of his shining moments. But he's definitely one of those few actors, and haven't seen him in a minute. I kind of feel like maybe he made his nut and just kind of was like, "Fuck it, I'm done," and maybe he'll show up again.
Yeah, but he's always
the
funny
Unicorn
when he
was
shows
like
up,
a
right.
good 7-8 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, always hilarious. But yeah, what happens in Vegas is great. The times where they try to screw each other out of going to the
therapist office.
Therapy sessions is very, very entertaining. And Queen Latifah's great, and a lot of the supporting cast. I love Lake Bell. I'm a big fan of hers.
Well, and her and
hysterical.
Rob Corddry together.
She reminds me of Jenny Slate.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, I'm so
funny. But yeah, it's one of those. It's gonna be if the contract does not run out and it's still on my Apple, then it'll be like a do laundry to type of a movie.
Totally.
Where it's like, oh yeah, I'll just pop that on, and of course Cameron Diaz just looks like $1 million. Like this was a long time ago, but when we just did Back in Action, well, we didn't do it, but we talked about Back in Action. She's aging fantastically. Cameron Diaz is always very entertaining to watch, even if the movie itself is terrible. She usually can bring it back and make it an enjoyable experience. But overall, I would give the movie it's like a C plus B minus. It's not anything we haven't seen before, but it's definitely an entertaining movie.
Yeah, for sure. I'd give it like a B minus too. In terms of rom-coms, I'd probably give it a solid B. It's really fun to revisit, and I'd certainly recommend it to people who are looking for rom-coms that are underrated, and I think it is. And I also like when Dennis Farina shows up in the movie as well. He's always great, and
yes,
he has a wonderful role in this movie, and that whole corporate retreat scene is, oh god, hilarious. There's a nice ensemble cast to it that holds it all together despite it being somewhat formulaic because of the genre, but you still have a really good time, like you said, and yeah, the physical comedy in it is absolutely hilarious.
Oh yeah, completely agree.
So I'm really glad that you enjoyed it. It was actually written by a woman, which I think is really cool. And
yeah,
Dana Fox was the screenwriter. She also wrote The Wedding Date, which is another rom-com actually, and Couples Retreat.
Oh, is that Deborah Messing?
It is Deborah Messing. Yeah.
Patrick Dempsey. Yeah. Never saw it. Amy's a big fan.
No, Mulrooney. Shit, the one from The Wedding Singer, Mulrooney.
Dermot Mulrooney. Wedding,
yes.
My Best Friend's Wedding.
My Best Friend's Wedding. Thank you. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, a lot of wedding movies. The Wedding Planner with Jennifer Lopez and Matthew Mulrooney.
McConaughey. Yeah, sorry. But she also wrote Couples Retreat, which is hilarious. Have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah, Couples Retreat I've actually seen twice, and I got to tell you, I think that was the time where I was kind of starting to check out with Vince Vaughn and kind of being like,
fair.
Can you be anybody else?
Yeah,
But there were still funny moments in that movie, definitely, yeah.
Dana Fox also wrote Cruella.
Ooh, that was actually a good live action. That was a good one.
And The Lost City with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum that came out within the last couple of years that I really liked.
Right.
Yeah.
And Daniel Radcliffe, speaking of Harry Potter.
Yep. And she also helped write Wicked 1 and 2.
Oh, wow.
So she's good with...
The first one was good.
Yeah, and she's good. Seems to be a good screenwriter for female-led movies and writing strong female characters.
Big time.
Just like in this film, which is good. So this movie was... it was shot in 46 days.
Oh, wow. That's it? Okay. 46 days actually kind of makes sense for something like this.
Kind of, but at the same time, there are multiple locations. I am impressed. It's a month and 2 weeks.
It's very
pretty quick.
Location heavy.
Yeah. And the lobby of their hotel is in fact the Planet Hollywood Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. So they shot on location for that, which is very fun.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple times in the movie where Joy performs a pretty cool party trick, which is funny because I just saw this done at a wedding I went to a couple weeks ago in real life, which is really cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's actually really fun to do. And Cameron Diaz can do that in real life, and she did it in Charlie's Angels Full Throttle as well. She really did that on set. There's a scene in the movie where they're all sitting down and talking about some of Jack's old Halloween costumes, and one of which is basically an adventurer Indiana Jones, and he says, well, who wouldn't want to be Indiana Jones? And Joy responds with, well, yeah, Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark is my favorite movie. It's one of the best movies ever made. And it's true. That is one of the best movies ever made. It's amazing. Yeah. Who wouldn't want to be Indiana Jones?
It's a great flick. I would love to be Indy.
I would love to be him, but also be with him, because it's Harrison Ford.
It is Harrison Ford.
My respect for you has circled back around into objectification. Speaking of Mila Kunis, that is my favorite scene in The Spy Who Dumped Me.
Oh, yeah.
And the last piece of trivia I have for this movie, unfortunately, I did not have much. I couldn't find that nearly any in all of the websites and different corners of the internet I searched on. So this is the last piece, and it is that Cameron Diaz and Ashton Kutcher stated in a post-production interview that they were actually drunk during the wedding scene in order to make it more realistic.
That's fun. Hell yeah.
which we've talked about before. If I was an actor doing a drunk scene, I would just get drunk.
Yep, absolutely.
Unfortunately, their erratic behavior caused the scene to be filmed repeatedly. There were a lot of takes that happened. And a video of the outtakes was available online. It was posted on YouTube, which would have been amazing. But
oh, hell yeah.
Fox had it taken down due to copyright infringement.
Oh, man.
Which is
That's
unfortunate.
too bad.
Yeah. So that is What Happens in Vegas. Came out in 2008. Unfortunately, it's not streaming anywhere, but you can rent it. According to John and I, it is worth your rental fee. Guess the budget for What Happens in Vegas.
35 mil.
Did you look it up?
No, I did not.
That is exactly the budget. Why did we play this game with you answering the questions? Clearly you're better at them than me.
I don't know.
Jesus Christ. Making me look like a fool
I did not look it up pre at all.
God damn it.
No,
Good job. Good job.
Sweet, 35 mil. Makes sense with both of them.
Yeah, and multiple states of locations
and whatnot.
Yeah, New York and Vegas and a couple other places. Okay, so in the U.S. it made $80 million.
Damn.
Guess what it made worldwide?
174 million.
On a $35 million budget, What Happens in Vegas made $219 million.
Wow. Holy shit. Damn. Good for them.
No idea it was that popular.
Yeah, neither did I. No clue at all. That's awesome.
So I would say it's more of a forgotten movie, probably underrated because I'm sure the critics tore it to pieces, but it is a really fun rom-com to revisit. Highly recommended by both of us.
Yeah, definitely.
So that is our Ashton Kutcher episode, focusing on his movies, even though neither of us are really fans. It's kind of an awkward episode in that way, I guess, but we can separate the art from the artist, apparently, or the movie from his performance.
Yeah.
But he's playing his classic goofball self in my movie, so it's a little bit easier to believe.
Yeah, I get you. I still like The Butterfly Effect, and I think he did a good job in that movie, too.
Well, speaking of which, would you watch it with your grandma?
Yeah, my grandmother would have liked Butterfly Effect.
Whew. Okay.
And V, would you watch What Happens in Vegas with your grandma?
Probably not, just because it's not really her style of comedy, but there's no sex scenes in it, and you can easily watch it with anyone.
Oh, definitely.
Anyone who wants to watch a rom-com, at least.
Yeah, I fully agree with that.
Great. Well, do you want to tell our audience what we're doing next week?
Yeah, let's talk about next week. We are going back to space. We haven't done a space movie in a while. I'm doing a movie that is well-renowned, especially for the piece of history that it is about. I am picking a movie from 1995 starring Tom Hanks, Bill Paxton, Kevin Bacon, Gary Sinise, directed by Ron Howard, screenplay by William Boyes Jr. and Al Reinert, the book Lost Moon from Jeffrey Kluger and Jim Lovell. This is Houston. We have a problem. This is Apollo 13. If you care to follow along, it is on Netflix. I will watch my 4K copy. And V, what are you choosing?
I'm so glad you have a 4K copy of it because Netflix's sound sucks so bad, especially for a movie like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
That'd be rough. I am picking a movie that is actually based on a true story, but is the prequel to yours. So I'm glad I'm going first next week because I chose a movie from 1983 starring Sam Shepard, Scott Glenn, Ed Harris, Dennis Quaid, and a bunch of other awesome actors who you will totally recognize and I will talk about then. This is The Right Stuff.
The Right Stuff. Ba-ba-ba-da-da. Wait, that's a different thing.
The only song of that I remember is Weird Al Yankovic's take on it, which is Oreo, The White Stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Not the New Kids on the Block version. The Right Stuff is actually streaming on YouTube and Pluto for free, but it does have commercials, so depending on how picky you are, you can also rent it from various sources.
Sweet. I have a double VHS copy.
I know that's a topic you're really passionate about, so I'm excited to get back into some NASA stories for us and for everyone else.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed our discussion about the Butterfly Effect. Let us know if you are a fan. Actually, let us know what movie you really love despite the star because you're not a fan of that actor, but you love the movie anyway.
Yeah, very curious about that.
Please feel free to reach out to us on any social media platform. We're on all of them. And rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast. That helps so much. And until the next episode, we close this podcast off with film is a form of art, and in art, every opinion is valid, except if you think
you have to be a fan of a certain actor to enjoy a movie.
totally agree.
Sweet.
All right, everyone. Until next week. Bye-bye.
Cheers, everybody.